One wrong relationship as an agency owner can change everything, and that could be for the good. And one wrong relationship could change everything, and that could be for the bad. In this video, I'm going to be breaking down exactly why that is and what top agencies are doing to mitigate that risk. My name is Trey. I'm the owner of Agent Lead Lab. In the past 3.5 years, we've helped 550 agents issue pay $40,000 per month. And on this channel, I try to talk about that methodologies, behaviors, and tactics of those individuals, what they're doing as agents or agency owners, and how you can implement that as well. So please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and let's hop right into the video. Okay, so I want to talk about relationships. All right, for your agency. Okay, so there's gonna be one move can change everything, and the way I look at that is it could be for the good, or it could be for the bad. Either way, you're going to learn. All right. So here's the thing. I just got off the phone with the individual, filled out one of our contact us, right? For those of you who don't know, like I'm still very so much involved in the business. I have not removed myself. I also really enjoy working. So I'm not overly fascinated with being like, oh, like I'm just like, I don't know. That's just not me. I would much rather be involved. Hold on one second. Got to pause the Discord. So I'd much rather be involved. And on that conversation, was talking to an individual, and their question, not question, but what they filled it out for is they facilitate relationships with agents and with leads. And they didn't really want to buy leads for themselves, but rather have a connection they could build with Lead Lab for their agency. Now, you're just like, okay, Trey, well, what's the point? In the midst of the conversation, we only talked for 10 minutes, but in the midst, at like minute 5, he was like, yo, I can already tell that this is going to be a very fruitful relationship. And it clicked to me that there's two things that happen in relationships, whether it grows and blossoms into something or it doesn't. There's only two things that can happen, but one thing is guaranteed. The two things that happen is that relationship can go really good, right? Or that relationship can go really bad. Now, they will have bad and good times, but the end result will either be really good or really bad at the very, very end of the road. And it's determined on how you judge the metric. Now, the reason why I'm bringing that up is because I've had a lot of people who that conversation has started like that and it's went really, really bad. And I've had a lot of people where that conversation has started like that and it's went really, really good. But either way, you learn. Now, why does this relate to you as an agent or agency owner? Is because when you are scaling, right, this piggybacks that initial conversation triggered in my mind a conversation that I have with one of our agency owners 2 days ago. Gentleman hits me up and says, their agents want to start changing the way that we market. They wanted to go from traditional funnels with just like basic questions to a more customized build out with like a call feature, booking feature, a whole round robin build. They wanted to get on and start doing the branding. And what happened is that one or two, let's just say two for the sake of it, of their agents said, I do not want to be a part of this. This is too much work. I don't want to get in front of the camera. I have no desire to do all the necessary things. And they said they just wanted to be an all-encompassing effort, meaning everybody was going to hop in and jump on the ship. Now, in the midst of that happening, those individuals chose not to jump in. And because they chose not to jump in, what we didn't want to happen happened for them. But this, I'm getting to a point here. That group of individuals started bad-mouthing what was going on. Yo, you don't need to do this. It's going to take a really long time. You'd be better off just buying leads, blah, 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 blah. Now, for some people, they're like, well, that's not that big of a deal. What ended up happening, right? And this is the conversation that I have with the agency owner, is that over like the lifespan of the past few months, those individuals actually started performing worse. They started trying to bring more people with them down in the organization. And it actually caused some friction, which the agency owner was like, I'm just going to let them go. Now you're probably asking like, okay, well, how does that relate to scaling your agency? Because that one move that they made changed everything for them and for him. Okay. For them, they chose not to go down that route and they probably went to another agency that may be a better fit. For him, he released a part of his team. Now, here's the cool thing, the reason why we started the call. He was like, ever since we let those people go, our agency went down and then went back up. So for numbers, they went down to, I think it was like, they were at like 400. They went down to like 300K. and now they're closer to 5, going closer to 6. I think they're like 525-ish. And then you're probably like, well, how does that work? Because the one move, I said, all roads lead down to the end result of being good or bad. Now, one could say that that relationship ended up being bad initially, but in reality, it ended up being good because him getting rid of those people actually freed up the congruency of the rest of his organization. And then he brings in more agents. Now, I've seen this on numerous occasions with recruiting ads. Somebody doesn't want to do recruiting ads, or the way that they do it, they don't fully align with it. I'd rather do my method. Perfect. With lead types, not even, I just went into the way that the lead is funneled. Somebody wanted a basic setup. Somebody wanted all the automations to get in front of the camera. We've had people who were like, I just want to do IULs. This person wants to do mortgage. We have a disagreement. We were doing mortgage. Now we're doing IUL. I don't want to switch. Boom. Or vice versa. Or they're doing too much. So there are always moves happening in your agency, but the value of the relationship determines everything. Now, the real question is, what does that relationship mean to you? That relationship could mean that this person was a heavy hitter. They could have a heavy emphasis in your leg. Just because they have that doesn't necessarily mean that when you lose them, it's going to be good or bad. But you are going to learn. You learn. You should learn. You should learn. That's the process. What did you learn from it? Right? I constantly bring up the Bible because I'm a believer, but the Bible talks about there being wisdom. It talks about 3 steps. There's knowledge, there's understanding, and there's wisdom, right? So knowledge is the simplest thing. It's like, hey, what do you know? What information can you learn and that you can consume? That is just, the way I look at it is like relative to no application. You just learn it. If I read out of a book, that's knowledge. Until I go put it into practice, what I've read, it then becomes understanding, right? You understand it better. You know how it relates to the knowledge better. You get a better understanding. And then prolonged understanding leads to wisdom, because now that you've understood this over time, you're wise in what choices to make or not to make. Now, the reason I'm going back to that is because that is the process of learning, right? Knowledge itself is not really learning. It's just knowledge. Because until it's applied, you don't have understanding. Until you have wisdom, theoretically, understanding is where you learn, right? You learn, the process of learning comes during understanding. But the goal is that you have to, right? Okay, it's like I could tell you, well, like you're going to lose a leg in your business and you'll grow. But it's like, okay, but you don't understand what that means until you go through it. And I think that, tying this all together, I think that what I've learned and what I started with the gentleman that I spoke to this morning, is that now I understand that this relationship can go one or two ways. I used to think that when it all starts out peachy rosy and sounds like this is going to be a good relationship, it can easily go sideways. In the same way that I understood, or I'm coming to understand, that different offers don't make as much sense. The same thing applies if you are an agency owner, right? You learn through those relationships, helps you scale. That's why it's called the value of relationships for scaling your agency, right? You are able to understand that through this relationship, I am able to scale my agency because this relationship has taught me something. Another way you could say it is the value of learning for scaling your agency, but that doesn't sound as good because in reality, the relationship creates the learning. You only learn through the relationship in the life insurance space when it comes to scaling your agency. Now, you can learn obviously from selling deals, but we're talking about building right now. We're not talking about selling. We're talking about you letting that person go is actually going to be more fruitful for you in the long run. One of the biggest struggles I've always had is when to let go or rehire new employees. It's like, I'm like, I don't know. Like, am I jumping the gun? I'll pray about it. I'll fast on it. I'll get some clarity. It's like, should I be doing that right now? And then the question always comes back to, it's like, well, what have I learned? And does this move get me closer to my goal? Regardless of what that says, it's the relationship. Is me dismissing this relationship going to get me closer to where I'm trying to go? If the answer to that is yes, and I'm okay with that, then I have to be willing to do the hard thing. Now, sometimes you make that choice, and sometimes God makes that choice for you, because their move can trigger it, or your move can trigger it. Their move could be, hey, actually, I'm just going to go ahead and not record the content and do what they need to do, and they just choose to go down their path. Or it could be you telling them to record the content, they choose not to, but then they don't really they get very ambiguous and they're on the fence. And now you have to make the executive decision of like, you're either in or you're out. Some people decide to do that, but that will either take the relationship down the path for good or take the relationship down the path for what you would theoretically call bad, right? And that is how you would frame not only the conversation, but the actual relationship and what it's done for you. Either way, you will learn. And I'm really leaning on prioritizing having quality relationships that help me grow. But I think that as an agent or an agency owner, you should also be thinking through that. I used to believe that the most effective way to grow was just hiring every single person. I do still think there's a piece of the puzzle that requires that. But another piece of the puzzle is also knowing when to let people go. There's this methodology that says hire slow, fire fast. The cool thing is in the life insurance space, you can theoretically hire fast because they're not really your employees. They're just a part of your team and they're 1099, even though you get an override. I think a better way that I would think about for the life insurance space is hire fast, promote slow, or hire fast, groom slow. By groom, I mean find the people that want to be agency owners in a slower manner and then move in that direction, right? So this was short. This was very generalized. This isn't the most saucy video, to be transparent with you. This is something I just wanted to touch on. This is more of like a personal thing. But I do think that relationships, no matter how you look at them, are very valuable to help you scale. It doesn't matter if you're doing $200,000 a month or $1 million a month. You can tarnish a relationship like this. I give another example. I worked with a gentleman who their upline did nothing for them. Wouldn't pay for them, wouldn't help them take them out. It was always, what can you do for me in return? That's it. That was their whole mindset. And there's a lot of people who are in that situation, unfortunately. And what that upline doesn't realize is that if you just poured a little bit more in, it would change everything. I've noticed how even with me and my team, me just taking the time to have a few more conversations makes a world of a difference. It creates an entire new way of looking at our relationship. If I'm able to get to know the person outside of just a work environment, not in a cheesy way, genuine. Think about it like, I only know this for myself. Sitting down and saying, before I pitch, I heard this from one of my mentors or a sales guy that I used to follow, whatever you want to call. He was like, I used to go in the house, set my G-Shock, hit a timer for 10 minutes, and I couldn't move into the application until after I spent 10 minutes asking why, who would be hurt, and just questions. And it was the question game. And I think back to that for myself. And when I want to get to know some of my staff, I sit down and ask questions in that same way. It's like, let me just hear, what does this person have to say? Let me get some clarity. And most of the time, what I end up finding out is that, that 1, 2, 3, 4 conversations that I'm genuinely trying to figure stuff out and like talk to them, like no type of ulterior motive, changes everything. Now, if I don't spend any time talking to them, it also takes it in the opposite direction where it's all business. So everything comes down to relationships. It's all about relationships. That's all that matters. You could be the worst salesman in the world, but if you genuinely actually care, which is just framing your heart and mind to be like, what I'm doing, I'm providing a real service. I'm actually trying to help people. You will make more money, close more deals. And even if you don't have a higher closing rate, you will over a long term have a better LTV. I honestly look at LTV now as a business owner as like lifetime value. It's like, to me, it's like, dude, may the most valuable person win. Maybe that's not the same for life insurance because I haven't sold with this frame of mind that I have now from running a business, but I'm very interested to see. But it's like, I can't see that it wouldn't work. In any industry, the person that genuinely cares more should win. They should win. And if they don't win immediately, they'll win over the long time. In an industry where most industries, you don't buy things one time. But one person can get you to stick with one thing one time. And I think that's a whole nother word. Like, you don't buy life insurance one time. Typically, people will buy it multiple times. It'll expire, but you get one person that you can stick with. There's only one person. It's like dating. It's like you buy leads from everybody, and you'll probably always buy leads from different people. But there's one person that you just like, yeah, like I know if I go to that person, we're gonna be rocking. And I think as time's going on for me in business, but also as an agent, and when you're growing, you pour into your people with that mind. You may hire hundreds of agents, but there's that one agent or those multiple of agents that will just rock with you just till the end. And if you pour into each person one by one by one, I think you'll have a lot more of those than you have less. And it's the same thing in business. It's like, is my closing percentage the highest? No. Do I make the most money out of all the people that are doing this right now? No. There's tons of other guys killing it, and I respect them. But I think that when it's all said and done, when all the smoke settles, when all the years end, I think that we'll be on top. Not because I'm better than anybody else, because I just think I care. Not that they don't care, but I just care a lot more. Like I've been there for the agents and I've been in their shoes, but I think you as an agent or agency owner should also move and think like that. If you hire everybody and you're like, dude, I'm going to make sure that this person, if they want it, don't exude your energy in people that don't really want it. But if they really, really want it, I'm going to do everything in my power to make sure that they're successful. I'm really going to try. And I'm going to tell them that I'm trying to do everything to make sure they're successful. And that doesn't have to be a literal one-to-one. It could be a one-to-many environment. You could do it on Zoom. You could bring in a bunch of people and still do that. But it's like, if you can get that frame of mind, I don't see why things wouldn't change, and why you wouldn't be able to scale without any balance. All the successful agencies that I work with, that's what they do. They focus in on, they narrow in on relationships. Even the ones that are super big that don't have relationships, man, you start talking to their guys, they don't even know the person. They're like, this is just, we're making money, but like, this is whatever. And I hate to say it, but it's the way a lot of insurance companies are. So you can be that change, you can be that difference. And that's kind of how I'll end it for today. So as always, please make sure that you guys like, comment, subscribe. If you're an individual agent looking to buy leads, you can go to leadlabscrm.com. We got $1 to $55. We got more leads coming out. So be on the lookout. If you're an agency owner and you want to partner up, honestly, talking to my team, we're probably, I'm getting to the end of ending Apex, or just calling Apex our partnership, right? And it's free. But you got to be a dog. You got to be good. We're going to have you apply, and you got to at least buy leads first. Like, you can't just hop in. Yeah, that's kind of where we're at. I'll say that. If you are interested, I may handpick a few. It was 5 to 10K. I might just put it at 10. $10,000 a month. You basically hire us to come in. We'll do everything for your whole team. We'll just make sure you guys are crushing it. Right? I believe I can get you to $1 million a month. We've done it before. So that's what we charge. And if you want to work with us, cool. You got to pay for your ad spend. We'll build you your own go out level. We'll run all the ads, whether in your account or ours, doesn't matter. And we'll get everything rocking and rolling for you. But the biggest thing is that we're going to help you build something special. Otherwise, you could do our partnership package, which is free, where you come in, you buy leads at a discounted grandfather rate. You got to be good. We hook you guys up. You still create your own community, and we help you still scale. There's 2 ways to skin a cat. It just depends on which one you want to do. One gives you a little bit more control, leverage, and higher ROI over time. The other one doesn't. So as always, please make sure that you like, comment, subscribe, and I will catch you guys next time. Peace.